Nice to meet you.
How's the working, man?
It's good. Welcome, everybody. Suzanne, would you start with roll call for us?
Yes, thank you. Mayor Levy?
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem Harvey? Here. Robert Carlson?
Here.
Matthews?
Here.
Mello?
Here.
Sawyer?
Here.
Schaefer?
Here.
Thank you.
Thank you, Suzanne. If you will all join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, welcome everybody. We're on agenda item number 4, and we're going to start with 4A. And Ms. Palmer, is she here? She is.
Yes.
There you go. If you'd like to.
We're going to start with Dick Brackley from the Pikes Peak Range Riders.
That sounds perfect.
And then Scott Stewart, president of the Pikes Peak Bus Rodeo, and then Girls.
Sounds good. Dick, if you'll just state your name and address for the record.
Richard Rackley, Colorado Springs, Pikes Peak Range Riders.
Thank you.
Thank you for the hospitality that you've shown us in the past, and thank you for having us here this evening. I'm just going to give you a little history on the Pikes Peak Range Riders. We're a group of over 200 members, most of whom are local businessmen, ranchers, cowboys, and wannabe cowboys. We were started in 1949 to help promote the Pikes Peak Bus Rodeo by doing a 5-day ride around Pikes Peak. And the first year we had 38 riders, and last year we had about 175. And I believe our first ride, one of our stops was the Paradise Ranch here in Woodland Park. Our mission basically is to promote the Pikes Peak Bus Rodeo, to support the Pikes Peak Range Rider Foundation, and to carry on Western heritage. We also sponsor 3 other organizations, the Pikes Peak Pivots, which was started in 1954 and is a men's equestrian drill team that rides to promote the Pikes Peak Bus Rodeo and also to promote Western heritage. They perform at over 20 events a year, including opening each performance of the rodeo and also at the Western Stock Show in Denver. The Rangerettes started in 1957 and is a women's equestrian drill team made up of 20 members ranging in age from 12 to 20. They are also ambassadors of the Pikes Peak Bus Rodeo and support our Western heritage. And in 2014, they performed at 15 rodeos, 8 parades, and volunteered at 12 additional Western heritage events, besides completing 25 practice sessions. I sort of say that I think they give a new meaning to the word soccer mom. When you think of the number of events they go to each year, it takes a lot of dedication and support from the girls and their families to catch the horses, braid their manes and tails, hook up a trailer, load up the horses, and haul them off to some faraway place. Matter of fact, both of the girls tonight are former Rangerettes. Our other entity is the Pikes Peak Range Rider Foundation, which was established in 1998 to allow us to focus our charitable events through a 501c3 corporation. The mission of the foundation is focused hub of youth equestrian and agriculture activity through a first-class facility, partnerships, programs, and proactive community outreach, and to promote the cowboy way, which we interpret as doing business with a handshake, and as one of our old members used to say, your word is your bond. Our facility is the Latigo Riding Center, which is located on 54 acres and has a 41,000 square foot indoor arena, several outdoor arenas, numerous stables, and other outbuildings. And it's also the facility that we evacuated a lot of your livestock to during the fires and the Hayman fires. Some of the events, activities that go on there are the Therapeutic Riding Center, the Wounded Warrior Program, 4-H, Little Butchers Rodeo, Boys and Girls Club, Girl Scouts, Cub Scouts, and other youth activities. We started live this year, which is at the 55th Annual Colorado Springs Western Street Breakfast on Wednesday, June 17th, that kicks off Western Heritage Days in Colorado Springs. The breakfast is put on by local Sertoma clubs, the Pikes Peak Range Riders, and volunteers from Fort Carson. The first breakfast was held in 1936 for about 35 people by the Swiss Chalet in downtown Colorado Springs. That breakfast tradition has continued on, and last year we had over 10,000 people attend. And through the generous support of our local community, Sertoma had the opportunity to give away $7,000 in support of our local military and their families. This is our 67th year and our 66th ride, and we'll be riding in Guffey, Colorado. And we finish up on Sunday and head back to Colorado Springs. We have a formal after-ride dinner with our family and friends, and we present our prestigious Silver Spur Award to an outstanding citizen of the community. Then we get ready for the rodeo July 8th through the 11th.
That's great. Thank you, Dick. Welcome, Scott.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor and City Council members. Thank you very much for letting us share some time. I'm Scott Stewart. I live in Black Forest, Colorado, and I have the honor this year of serving as the president of the board for the Pikes Peak Bus Rodeo. We have an exciting year this year. It's our 75th anniversary. Quite a milestone for the rodeo and for the community. And when you look at the Pikes Peak Bus, it is this entire community, from Woodland Park to Security to Black Forest to Monument. It is a wide array of people that come together and help put this rodeo on. A rodeo, and you're going to hear a lot more about it from our girls of the West that do a much better job than either Dick or I on talking about the rodeo. But just in brief, we had changed our format. This last year was our first year to go to an all-invitational rodeo where we invite the top cowboys and cowgirls to come to our rodeo and compete for prize money that puts us in the top 10 rodeos in the nation. We have several ancillary events this year because it is the 75th. We started on April 24th, exactly 75 days before the rodeo, with a Hall of Fame induction to the Pikes Peak Bus Rodeo Hall of Fame, a luncheon at the Broadmoor in which we inducted 10 very key individuals and animals into our Hall of Fame to add to 3 previous classes that were already there. As you'll hear, we have some exciting upcoming events with the street breakfast and with cowgirls and cocktails, with everything that comes together to support our local military. With that, I'll stop again. Thank you for your time this evening, and I'll certainly turn it over to Corliss and the girls of the West.
Thank you very much.
Hi, I'm Corliss Palmer. Thanks for having us. I'm a 14-year volunteer with the Pikes Peak Bus Rodeo as director of the Girls of the West program, and I also serve on the board of directors. I schedule and escort the girls to about 150 appearances between the 1st of May and the middle of July, so we are very busy. The Girl of the West is a 2-summer commitment, so this summer during the rodeo we'll choose next year's aide. This year's aide, you'll find out, she probably already knew her, she lives in Woodland Park. Next year she'll become the Girl of the West. So that's how it works, and the competition is consisted of appearance, speech, interview, and horsemanship. And you might have seen our pink pickup out front. You might have missed it. Perkins Motors provides us a pickup every summer to drive, and we get it wrapped in pink. We do a lot of breast cancer awareness, but it's good for girls. And so we're very visible. And now I'll introduce the girls. The Girl of the West this year is Rachel Bratton. She's the 19-year-old daughter of Brian and Julie Bratton of Black Forest near Monument. She's currently attending the University of Northern Colorado in Greeley, where she'll seek a degree in psychology and social work with a minor in criminal justice. At a very young age, she developed a love of rodeo and horses. She began competing in gymkhanas and later began Little Britches rodeo competition. Her passion is barrel racing. Her devotion to Colorado has led her to join the Colorado Professional Rodeo Association so she can take her barrel racing to another level. She spent 6 years as a Pikes Peak Rangerette promoting the rodeo, and she rides 2 different horses, 2 American quarter horses named Gator and Slugger. Our aide to Girl of the West is a local Woodland Park young lady, Allison Mitchell. She's the 19-year-old daughter of Mark and Karen Mitchell. She's currently attending Colorado Christian University in Denver, where she's studying pre-med. She will graduate with a major in biology and minors in psychology and chemistry. She hopes to continue her education at the CU Denver Medical School to pursue a career in surgical medicine. She has a lifelong love of horses and has been active in Teller County 4-H, holding many local leadership positions. and winning state awards for her projects. As a member of Pikes Peak Rangerettes for 5 years, Allison has truly enjoyed her time promoting the Pikes Peak Bus Rodeo. This was the first rodeo she attended as a small young girl, and she was always inspired by the Girls of the West. She rides an American paint horse named Willie. Please enjoy the Girls of the West.
Hi, I'm Rachel Bratton, Girl of the West.
And I'm Allison Mitchell, aide to Girl of the West.
And we're the proud ambassadors of the Pikes Peak Bus Rodeo. You'll see our Perkins Ram pink truck all over town as we head out to appearances at businesses, military installations, and community events. Why do we do it? Because we're passionate about the Pikes Peak Bus Rodeo and the Western traditions it represents. The Pikes Peak Bus Rodeo is one of the oldest and most loved events in our community, and we're excited to be celebrating our 75th anniversary this year. That's 75 years of celebrating our Western heritage, enjoying top rodeo action, and most importantly, giving back to our local military and their families. This year's rodeo runs July 8th through the 11th at the Norris Penrose Event Center in Colorado Springs.
That's right, this year's Pikes Peak Bus Rodeo runs Wednesday, July 8th through Saturday, July 11th, with performances at 7:15 p.m. Wednesday through Saturday evenings and a Saturday matinee at 12:45 p.m. You'll experience Championship Rodeo at its finest at each performance, and the Finals Championship Rodeo on Saturday night will have fans up on their feet with all the excitement. The best athletes in rodeo are competing for top prize money in rodeo's classic events: bareback riding, steer wrestling, team roping, saddle bronc, tie-down roping, barrel racing, and bull riding. And there will be longtime fan favorite mutton busted, and a new thrilling Gymkhana-style event, Cinches Equicross, for contestants ages 14 to 18, featuring rescue race and keyhole race competitions that will have you cheering these young riders onto the winner's circle. Our local military are honored at each performance. Fort Carson on Wednesday evening, Missile Defense and 302nd Airlift Wing on Thursday evening, Air Force Space Command on Friday evening, Air Force Academy at the Saturday matinee, and NORAD US Northcom on Saturday evening. Since 1946, the Pikes Peak Bus Rodeo has been supporting local military and their families.
There's lots to do before the rodeo begins. Grounds open at 4 p.m. for the evening performances and 10 a.m. for the Saturday matinee. Come early and enjoy all the fun in our fan zone. Mutton busting tryouts are fun for everyone. Plus, there's mechanical bull riding, pony rides, a petting zoo, a climbing wall, bungee jump box, vendors, and much more. You can grab a bite to eat and then get ready for the rodeo. You'll enjoy the precision riding skills of the Pikes Peak Range Rider pivots, and the lovely and talented Pikes Peak Rangerettes horseback drill team will delight you with their riding skills as well. Trick Riders, the all-American cowgirl chicks, will amaze you with their stunts. And funny man Lisa Harris will have fans of all ages holding their sides with laughter. After the rodeo, head on over to the Coors Roadhouse Saloon for great live music, dancing, and some ice-cold Coors.
Rodeo season truly kicks off with some other events that our town loves. Plan to join us downtown Wednesday, June 17th for the 55th Colorado Springs Western Street Breakfast. Enjoy great pancakes and eggs cooked and served by our own Fort Carson volunteers. Tickets are only $5 and kids under 5 eat free. Then send off the Pikes Peak Range Riders as they ride out of town to begin their 67th annual 5-day ride to promote the Pikes Peak Bus Rodeo. The annual Kitty Dress-Up Review will be held near the Hank statue at Pikes Peak in Tejon immediately following the departure of the Range Riders on June 17th. Children ages 3 to 12 will be competing in 5 categories, with awards presented to the top 3 in each event. Winners can ride in the parade. On July 7th, starting at 6:30 p.m., we'll have the annual Pikes Peak Bus Rodeo Days Parade, a hometown tradition. You'll see floats, equestrian groups, military units, and lots of local businesses as they head south on Tejon in downtown Colorado Springs, starting at St. Vrain and continuing south to Vermejo. This beloved Western cultural event is free to watch and fun for the entire family.
Then it's time to rodeo. Mark your calendars, buy your tickets, and get ready for edge of your seat championship rodeo action at its best. The dates again for the Pikes Peak Bus Rodeo are Wednesday, July 8th through Saturday, July 11th. Remember to purchase your tickets online or at the Norris Penrose Event Center box office. You can find all this information and much more about the Pikes Peak Bus Rodeo at our website, pikespeakerbus.org. See you at the 75th Annual Pikes Peak Bus Rodeo, July 8th through the 11th at the Norris Penrose Event Center in Colorado Springs.
Ladies, thank you very much Rachel and Allison, you represent very, very well. I'm sure Scott and Dick and Ms. Palmer are proud to have you aboard. Great job. Thank you for being here. Was that the 151st time you did that?
Yeah, second.
152nd?
Excellent.
Well, thank you so much for being here. Really appreciate it. You bet.
We have to run. We have another meeting now.
We will let you run.
Run or ride?
You didn't want to get a picture of one, Mayor?
They didn't ask. I'd love a picture.
That's easy.
We don't see him in a tie very often, so this is a good opportunity to get it in the paper or something, right?
You gotta get proof.
Yes.
And you know, Rachel and Allison, one of the greatest things that I get to do as mayor is represent our community. And so today, what I would like to do is give the both of you a mayor's pin on behalf of our council, certainly everybody in this room, and the city of Woodland Park for such a great job in representing your community. So thank you very, very much. We appreciate it.
Thank you so much.
Okay, we will move on to 4B and Mr. Miranda. Would you like to come forward? Just state your name and your address for us, sir.
I'm Walter Miranda. I represent New Beginnings Fuller Center Project here in Teller County. We are a brand new organization. I actually started this organization back in April of 2014, 1 year ago. But my roots go back a lot farther than that. A lot of you already know me. Maybe some don't. I started as a board member in 1998 for Habitat for Humanity with the excitement of building houses for low-income people. Love the job. Really love Habitat for Humanity. Just want to do more than we're doing currently. There is a need for affordable housing in Teller County, and I'm sure everybody knows it. Sorry, this is my first time public speaking, so you're my guinea pigs. We started out in '98 building the first house with a multitude of volunteers. Since then, the community has grown and has a lot of nonprofits these days. Volunteerism seems to be down, or there's a lot more to be spread around. So I'm looking for different ways to create affordable housing. I'm looking for collaboration from the community. I'm looking for support that gives you the chance to find ways to help build the community that we need to build. As everybody knows, there's hundreds of people in our community that earn like $8 an hour, working 40 hours a week. That translates to about $16,000 if they work full-time. If a person were to spend 40% of their income on housing and utilities, they'd probably spend about $554 a month. Finding housing at that rate in this county, almost impossible. My goal is to try to provide as much affordable housing as humanly possible. The only way I can think of doing it is through a nonprofit, and The only way I know it will happen is if the community gets involved, gets active, and finds ways to do it. I'm hoping to be that organization that helps bring people together with their ideas and build an organization that can provide enough affordable housing to meet the needs that this county needs. What those true numbers are, I don't know. But I know from my experience through the years in this county, we've lived here 17 years now, that there is a need and plenty of people that need affordable housing. We're not just working in Teller County. I'm trying to work in any area that I can work in with whatever resources come my way. Why am I doing this? Because as Millard Fuller's original founding mission was to provide a simple, decent, affordable house for everyone in the world. That's an outstanding mission. Can't imagine ever solving it. But what if we did? Like people said way back when, what if we could put a man on the moon? I bet a lot of people said it was impossible, but it happened. I think providing affordable housing for everyone that needs it is a mission that needs to be solved and can be solved in my lifetime. And I'm already 53. So, I thought I'd keep it short and sweet, and I had a whole bunch of notes of that. I thought what I'd follow, but I haven't done that exactly, so I'd like to open it up to any questions or comments that anyone might feel to, ask if they have any.
Well, first, thank you very much for being here. Let's start with Mr. Schaefer, because I'm sure that he might have a question or two. Do you know Mr. Schaefer?
I do.
Good.
Longtime friends.
Yes. Habitat for Humanity. We'll work together. Walter was an excellent roofer. And I don't know how many Habitat homes he roofed, but 25 at least. Good man, and his heart's in the right place. And I'd like to ask Walter if he's thinking in terms of actually building homes or doing some remodeling, renovating, rehabilitation, or something else.
Fuller Center does it all. We work with homeowners that actually live in their homes and can't afford to repair them. We work with, I want to say, even as far down as homeless people. If we can find homeless people that we can plant in very low-income housing that gives them the opportunity to be a stable person in the community. I personally found at least 5 people in this community that have lived here and do a lot more work for the community than I do, and they don't have an affordable house. And I'd love to try to build or buy for them. It all depends on the resources that come our way. If we can purchase a new model, that'd be the easiest way. If we can build from scratch and afford to do it and keep it simple and decent, that's what we try to do.
Okay.
I skipped the whole very important part. Millard Fuller Center for Housing, was the original founder of Habitat back in the 70s. He spent a lifetime working towards, achieving his goal of eliminating poverty housing around the world. In 2005, he broke from Habitat and reopened the organization with the same principles. It's just a more lofty, grassroots, community-based organization as it originally started out back in the 70s. Like I said, I worked with Habitat, and I still love Habitat and its goals and its missions. I just am looking for organization and collaboration with more members of the community in order to build a lot more housing than we're currently doing. And working with other organizations, not just, a few people here and there. I'd like to work in cooperation with other organizations to keep this mission on track and successful. Okay. Any other questions?
Walter, thank you for being here.
Thank you.
I think we know each other from the past, but I can't.
We do. You actually trained my mother how to use a computer.
Oh, there we go. How many other organizations are there in this town that are working independently that you want to come together?
Well, a lot of the people that I believe, could use our help are already using the services of Aspen Mind Center and Help the Needy. I kind of look at us as a stepping stone towards Habitat. If we can bring in people earning $8 an hour, people earning $15,000 to $36,000 a year, and house them in affordable housing so that they can get stable and, enjoy the community and make it a part of their, future.
Let me rephrase the question.
Okay.
So you have Habitat for Humanity.
Mm-hmm.
You have what else?
As far as I know, John Schaefer and Brian Fleer are doing their affordable housing projects.
And that's it?
And that's
America West.
Yeah.
There's only two.
And as I understand it, their organization is doing rental homes. I'm looking forward to actually placing permanent people in permanent housing that they can actually own. Yes, sir.
Yeah. Good to see you again.
Thank you.
While you were doing the roof, I was doing the side.
Yeah.
I was waiting for you to fall on me. Anyway.
Not yet.
Not yet. As I understand it, Habitat does the second quintile from 25% to 50%, basically in the range about $24,000 to $48,000. Those and they have some pretty strict criteria. You have had to have a job for 2 years and things like that. So you're really aiming for the first quintile, that's 0 to 25, which is by getting them in a place where they can have a job for 2 years, would then put them in line perhaps for getting into a Habitat home. So you do have a different mission and a different demographic or a socioeconomic strata than Habitat does. You're not duplicating what they're trying to do.
Yeah, and in fact, our mission is similar in that we try to give people a hand up, not a handout. It's not a giveaway. My goal is to actually not only provide low-income housing, low-priced housing, but to actually help educate people on how to maintain a stable financial position in life. And when they transition out of the low-income housing and into more expensive housing, as their stability grows, we want to keep that housing low income. We don't want to just let it go back into the housing market that would lose the low income level. We'd like to maintain that housing in our pockets, so to say, so that we maintain a bank of properties that can easily be transitioned from one low-income person to the next.
Any other questions?
Walter, how does an individual get a hold of you if they want to help out?
My personal number is the easiest way, and it's open 24/7.
Is there a website, or is there...
There is a website, dp1c.com, New Beginnings, FCP, should lead you to our website. Fullercenter.org is a very good website to reference, and they actually have us listed as an affiliate. So you can contact us through their website as well, fullercenter.org.
What are you looking for specifically? Are you looking for handyman? You're looking for plumbers? You're looking for what type of individuals are you looking for to help out, to donate?
We are looking for everything.
Okay, that narrows it down.
Bookkeepers, handyman to help remodel houses. We're looking for applicants. We'd love to have people start applying. Something else I failed to mention, we are having a community meeting June 4th at the Woodland Park Center, UPass Cultural Center, 6:30 p.m. June 4th, and then another one at Bronco Billy's on June 9th at 6 p.m. Yes, sir.
So you do have some projects that are ready to be implemented, and some houses that would become available that you're looking for applicants to live in?
We currently don't have any projects that are solid construction projects. I do have a few people that I've been working with at repairing their homes and, just partnering with them to maintain an affordable repair program on their properties. Like I said, I've only been with Fuller Center for a year now, and it's basically me and 5 other board members, 4 other board members beside myself. So, we're a very small organization, but Fuller Center started in 2005. At current date, I think there are 60 affiliates in the United States in 23 different states, and I believe we're in 7 other countries already. Fuller Center is growing extremely rapid. Millard Fuller has passed away, but the current CEO is actually a previous resident of Teller County, and he was extremely excited when I found out about him for me to join him. I remember his name.
David Snell.
David Snell, thank you very much. One of my biggest problems is remembering people's names.
Are you now an accredited nonprofit?
We became a 501c April 15th, actually, with the Fuller Center.
Are you going to pursue federal funding or
Yes,
grants?
We recently asked a grant writer that is one of our board members' relatives to help us out. He's raised millions of dollars. We're hoping he can help us do that. I'm not particularly pushing or asking for funds. I hope they come in. I'm actually looking for ways to partner with local businesses in order to keep our construction costs down. I know volunteers are scarce and hard to get, so I'm hoping that I can get people who have experience that are not requiring $50 an hour to do something and can do it for $10 an hour, keep our costs down to help actually provide jobs, but not provide us with a lot of expenses that run the house cost up.
Well, go back to John's first question. What is your priority, to find dwellings that someone's going to give to the organization and then make available to those that would qualify under some HUD criteria?
We haven't started an ad campaign. We're running the community meetings first. I would imagine after we see what the community is going to do for us, that'll determine what we actually advertise for. If there's property that people are willing to give to us that we can build on, that's a beautiful asset to have. We'll probably start asking for stuff like that. I'm also looking for real estate agents to help me look for foreclosures that we can try to buy inexpensively and remodel. I'm actually looking forward to advertising that we're going to be looking for permanent people that are already in permanent housing, like elderly people who are in a fixed income and their house needs repairs, roof needs to be redone and can't afford to do it. We'll be doing that as what's called a greater blessing through Fuller Center.
Are you working with the Department of Social Services?
I haven't collaborated with Department of Social Services
There
yet.
are a lot of state and federal programs that do address that particular requirement for rehabbing and energy grants for heating. You've not availed yourself, though, of social services?
We haven't done that yet. Right now, I'm the main person out there pushing for this. My primary goal right now is to build a really solid foundation of the organization, hopefully draw more people in that become very active board members or staff, one or the other. And again, I'm working with any resource that comes my way, so if we do have a sign-up sheet in the back, if anyone's willing to help us out, we'd love to have you help out. We'd love to figure out who has the smartest ideas of figuring out how to solve this problem. It's not an easy task, and there's not going to be one way we go. There's going to be multiple avenues that we work towards.
Anybody else? Mr. Miranda, thank you very much for being here. I think one of the questions kind of pointed towards this, and that's how many entities are working in this direction. And it may behoove you to try to get those groups together and do the best you can in getting that kind of cooperation, because it seems like it's there are a number of groups that would like to do the same thing you're doing.
Absolutely. Again, if you know anyone, push them our way. I'll be looking forward to trying to go to other people's organizational meetings myself and, try to figure out ways to collaborate together and not waste resources. The more resources we can share, the better off we are.
Well, good luck to you, and thank you very much for being here.
Thank you very much for your time and allowing me to present this organization.
Thank you.
Thank you, Walter.
Okay, we'll move on to item number 5. Are there any additions, deletions, or corrections to the agenda? If not, we'll move on to the consent calendar. And Suzanne?
Mayor, before Suzanne starts with items 6A and 6B, I want to touch briefly on 6C. Typically, Suzanne reads the items that are on the consent agenda to you, and you typically just accept the whole group. You know that I caused you not to have a copy of the contract to buy and sell this real property for the aquatic center. You didn't see that until today. I am prepared to discuss the salient portions of that after Suzanne talks about A and B. So I just wanted to preheat you to the fact that we're not just going to blow right past item 6C. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor Levy. This evening on the consent agenda, we have the council minutes from May 7th, regular council meeting, and we have the March 2015 statement of expenditures and the authorization for the mayor to sign the warrants.
And with that, do you have questions on 6A or 6B?
Yeah, I have a question on 6B. There's an expenditure in the amount of $90,898.30 to Jason Neil Jordan. I was kind of wondering what that was.
That's the Twin Lake share purchase.
Oh, that's the share purchase? Okay. Normally I see big amounts like that going to a company as opposed to an individual. So, okay, thank you.
Anything else? Okay, Mr. Buttery.
Thank you, Mayor. Council, before you this evening on the consent agenda is the contract that would exist between the City of Woodland Park and the Downtown Development Authority for acquisition of the property to build the aquatic center. You'll recall many months ago we spoke of the general concept of the city purchasing that property from the DDA with some amount of cash and then some amount of reduction of the debt. What's before you this evening in this contract is the standard real estate contract that exists in Colorado. The first 29 items are boilerplate. Item 30 on page 15 of 17 speaks specifically to this particular agreement. In the audience this evening is Mark Weaver from Ascent Commercial Realty. He is the seller's agent, the DDA's agent. He has been working very closely with our city attorney, Aaron Smith, to formulate the language that you see in item 30. Basically, the items in item 30 reflect that there would be a cost of the property at $3.75 a square foot. Council will recall that's the number that we received from the independent appraiser. You will also see the cash payment of $100,000. That too is the number that council agreed to in concept and is included in the budget. We do have some other things that we need to complete. The survey, for example. There's also some costs that we will absorb for that surveying. One of the last things, item number 6, says that this contract's not binding until the seller has reached an agreement with Vectra Bank. Actually, it's item number 5. Recall the $100,000 was intended to buy the piece of property that's just south of the old tank farm and then have the ability to connect Saddle Club Drive to West Street. That was the concept all along. We would pay some cash. The DDA would then in turn take that cash and purchase that land from Vectra. Some of it would be for their use, some of it would be
then turned back to the city as public right-of-way. That's just described in this particular paragraph here. I realize council is getting this evening. If you're not prepared to make this decision, if we want to have some discussion about it, we certainly can. If you need time to study it, there's no high degree of urgency, but again, this is just memorializing the same concepts that we've been talking about for several months. This morning, the DDA Board of Directors agreed to allow this agreement to come to the council as it is presented to you this evening. What questions can I answer for you at this time? Yes, sir.
Thank you. Yes, a matter of this importance, as you've already recognized, needs to be considered, and thank you that you even would consider postponing it so that we have more time to study it. But in matters of resolve concerning the city and the DDA, the more transparency we have in that process and how we arrived at numbers, the better off the citizens will feel that the city got a good deal. Hopefully the DDA too, that it's a win-win situation for both parties. So I think it would be worthwhile, and I talked to Brian before this meeting to see if he would be prepared to make some comments, and he said he would be. But I think, I'll leave it up to the rest of the council members, but I would almost like to have a step-by-step briefing as how, these were the issues, these were the positions, and why this compromise was made, basically how you got from the beginning to where we are today in this document. And as I've said all along too, I've always been very interested in what were the comps for comparing the prices, and you've told me before that we have that. So if we could have that be part of the presentation, is these are the properties we looked at, and that's how we got the numbers. I think that would be, in my preference, that would be the way to go. Listen to others.
I'll do my best to answer some of those things right now, so that if the council's comfortable with this, we can move along. But the comps, I don't know that I can give you the comps. Brian might be able to, but the independent third-party appraiser used those comps to come up with that 375. We didn't negotiate from that. We didn't think it was appropriate to ask for a better deal or a worse deal than anybody else. We said that was the appraiser's assessment. That's what we'll move forward with. There really has been no change or compromise with the DDA in any way, shape, or form. They hired the Ascent Commercial Realty to be the seller's agent. They'll pay for that. We agreed to do the survey because we're going to be surveying the entire area anyway as part of the Aquatic Center work. So it made sense for us to absorb that. The concept of our cash would then be used by the DDA to buy the land from Vectra, that's been stated numerous times in the public, in this meeting, in the DDA. It's been presented in the paper, so every step of this has been extremely transparent. So there were no other compromises from the initial concept to where we are today.
Well, one of the issues, in addition to comps, was in selling this land to us, they can't use it for commercial purposes, and therefore the revenue that would come from the TIF. So I was wondering how we're compensating the DDA for loss in TIF, if that is in fact a concept.
Brian did some math probably a year and a half ago that said for an equivalent square footage of retail space, there would be a property tax increase of about $80,000 a year. In most TIF agreements, 50% gets turned back to the developer. More recently, that number's been closer to 75%. So the DDA would be losing about $20,000 to $40,000 a year in TIF revenue. The DDA board said that's a reasonable loss in TIF revenue for the benefit that the Aquatic Center will bring to the entire area. So those numbers have been reported on in the past as well.
So there was also some attempt then to identify the benefits to the development area. We've talked about that before, but I would like to kind of it on the record too, is what you anticipate the benefits of having not only an aquatic center there, but I mean, one, we're already getting that family entertainment center, but if you could elucidate a little bit more on that too.
Well, I'll do my best to. It is true that the family entertainment center is bolstered by the fact that just adjacent to it is another family environment. We know that we're still moving forward with some mixed use, residential and commercial adjacent to that. I don't know that I can prove to you or quantify what those improvements or what other revenue will be generated as a result of the Aquatic Center being there. It would be anecdotal at best as to what we think might happen there.
Well, one of the ideas of an anchor, and this is what the aquatic project would be, is that it drives up the value of the land around it, not only in the DDA property, but in the adjacent properties. For instance, the trailer park and they got the warehouses over there. I think Black Hills is in there somewhere. Would you agree with that particular assessment? That
Probably so. We haven't. I don't know what the property values look like since the hardware store has been built, but it does stand to reason that if there's an aquatic center there, that the land values will go up, and therefore the property taxes will go up. I think that's a logical conclusion.
Bob, what would you change in the contract, though? You're hunting for something. What are you hunting for?
No, I'm not. I just wanted all this on the record.
Transparency.
Yeah, I think that's a wise approach.
This was all taken care of this morning at the DDA meeting. So,
but we weren't at the DDA, and I just saw this 10 minutes before the meeting.
You're a fast reader.
Well, I haven't even read it.
So, and again, I apologize. I accept full responsibility for that. Again, the first 29 paragraphs are boilerplate, and it's 30 that is the meat of the agreement.
And there's not a need to necessarily approve this today. If you all would feel more comfortable with tabling it to our next meeting 2 weeks from now, Bob, do you think that would give you ample time to make any inquiries and read the contract? Do you think that's reasonable?
Yeah. Well, Brian was willing to say something. Is there anything that you have to add in addition to what?
Sure.
I didn't want to preclude.
You gave me this chance, so of course I'm going to always take the opportunity. You had mentioned comps. There were three significant comps, and I had the benefit of spending quite a bit of time with the county assessor, and we look at vacant parcels that are both developed, non-developed, and obviously since Woodland Hardware has come online, values in Woodland Station have gone up. The three comps are the AmeriGas site, which in the value is $5.90 a square foot. Okay, the Woodland Hardware was $2.90 a square foot. If you look at how we compare values, and then also Tractor Supply site, which was 7.2 acres, was $2.90 per square foot. That average from CBRE, the appraiser, derived the $3.75. I think that's currently below market right now. You may have heard the buzz out in the community about where property values are going and where the assessor is. We're going to have some interesting discussions about that, but the DDA board is very comfortable with this appraisal. They feel that with the city, quite frankly, as a development partner within Woodland Station, it's a very fair and equitable value. So that never really has been a bone of contention relative to value.
Brian, again, on the parcel of land that the hardware store sets on, the evaluation was pre-building or post-building?
That was a value that was set pre-building, and that would set the value in terms of what.
And how much was that again?
$2.90 a square foot, and I think that total value was probably somewhere around $275,000 in the total purchase price.
How long ago was that assessment made?
You know, the actual appraiser, this was done August of last year is when it came out.
You need to recall that when the land value was done for the how-to store, there were no public improvements. There was no infrastructure there. The Aquatic Center site now has Center Street leading to it and Saddle Club, at least on one side of it. So there were some infrastructure improvements that would cause the price of that land to go up.
Thank you. Yeah, that's a good point.
Anybody else, Bob?
Yeah. The first two, though, were not market-driven prices. They were not sold through the normal thing. I mean, it was DDA incorporated into the DDA property. So, and same thing with the Woodland Hardware. It was a negotiated price. So, would you consider that to be a fair comp then?
You're talking about Woodland Hardware? AmeriGas, I consider AmeriGas a fair comp. I mean, at $5.90 a square foot, I'll say that's at the upper end. And there was some issues with the site. They obviously had to remove the tanks and do a number of different things there. So I would describe that as at least market. We don't have a lot of land transactions, so it was one of the conversations we had with the appraiser at the time, because we looked at everything. We didn't feel Walmart, that would have been off the scale as a comparable, because those are some of the highest per square, those Walmart pad sites, when you look at some of those. The conversation that Betty Clark Wine and myself would have, the county assessor, is across the board vacant land with some improvements to somewhere between $400 and $450 a square foot probably right now. So I think there is an equitable value. The other thing you have to remember, the city comes in with the aquatic facility. It's not just like they're buying property and holding on to it. They're building a facility that will have a marketable impact to Woodland Station. And that's been a conversation we've had with the DDA board, well, since the aquatic facility became a reality. And we felt that if there was going to be consideration for a location, we wanted to be part of that discussion. And we were very pleased in the final outcome.
Well, in that there's no hurry, I think, we criticize Congress heavily for passing laws that they've never read.
Oh, I don't think so.
You don't think so? You don't? So I would prefer to table this till the next meeting if possible, so that we can at least look at it.
Just to follow up, Brian, in number 1 on page 15, it says this actual purchase price shall be determined on or before May 21st, so that's locked?
That actually, there's an amend and extend provision of this contract that when the council decides to, if they go forward with it, the city manager has authority to sign that, and all the dates will bump 60 days. So
when we started this, we thought we would have the survey done and we would be ready to have this by May 21st. That's not the case. Council would be approving the basic format, and as part of that, you would be giving me some authorities to change some of the dates associated with this, but not the dollar amounts. So the obligation to the city coffers is your responsibility, but you would allow me to have some flexibility with some of the dates. It is true that it's not urgent that you do this tonight, and I'm not going to push except for just this little bit. If you're comfortable with this will allow us to continue the negotiations with the DDA with Vectra to bring that to closure so that we then understand completely the infrastructure. But again, that's the only gentle nudge I'll give you. If we need to postpone it for a couple of weeks, we'll certainly do that.
And that was my next question, number 5, the Vectra Bank discussion, negotiation. Will this kind of take it out of sequence in terms of timeliness of completion if we postpone this 2 weeks?
One of the things that Vectra has asked of us is a clear and defined path of payment, and that clear and defined path is an approval of a council of this real estate contract. In the grand scheme of things, will 2 weeks affect the process? I can't really say that it would, other than the fact that I know when Aaron and I have been talking at a high level about and are communicating with Vectra attorneys about language, and as soon as council makes a decision, we're going to have that conversation again at a high level. So, I mean, it's an ongoing process.
You know, based on everything that's happened in the public, I think we've got kind of a confluence of data, information, and transparency that, in my view, would allow me to feel comfortable moving on this tonight. Other thoughts?
I feel the same. It's a pretty solid contract.
We've discussed it enough, I think, and heard it for some time. I'm okay with moving ahead with it.
John?
I am as well.
So I'll yield to the majority.
I just appreciate Councilman Carlson bringing some of these things to light again, just so they are on the record, but I'm comfortable with it as well.
Okay, that said, we can move on to a vote.
We need a motion to approve the consent calendar.
So moved.
Second. Thank you. Suzanne?
Carlson?
Yes.
Harvey?
Yes.
Levy?
Yes.
Matthews?
Yes.
Mella?
Yes.
Sawyer?
Yes.
Schaefer?
Yes.
Thank you. Motion carries unanimously.
Thank you.
Thanks, Susanna, and thanks, Bob, for your questions, very valid, and we knew there would be some questions. There's a couple of us that have been to DDA and kind of understand it a little bit better, and so that's great that you brought those up. Thank you very much. Okay, we'll move forward. If there's no unfinished business, we'll move on to ordinances on initial posting, and Laura Pellegrino. Welcome.
Thank you, Mayor Levy and members of the council. Tonight we are here to consider ordinance number 1241 on initial posting as requested by John Robert Gatlin, who is the property owner. It's a request to vacate the common interior lot line and associated 10-foot utility and drainage easement between lots 1 and 2 of Greens Edition filing number 2. Both lots have an address of 311 and 317 East Bowman Avenue. Both are located in the urban residential zone. And tonight, we would need a motion to accept this ordinance for first reading and to set a public hearing for June 4th, 2015.
Thank you, Laura. Any questions?
This was tabled a few weeks ago, right? Or a couple
No.
weeks ago?
No, this is a new one.
That was the Weber.
Correct.
That was 9B. So this is new to us, and if you don't have any questions, we'll entertain a motion to set the public hearing for June 4th.
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Thank you, Suzanne.
Harvey?
Yes.
Levy?
Yes.
Matthews?
Yes.
Mella?
Yes.
Sawyer?
Yes.
Schaefer?
Yes.
Carlson?
Yes.
Thank you. Motion carries unanimously.
Thank you, Suzanne. We will move on to public hearings, and before we do that, I need to read this announcement. Council members use electronic devices to access the materials relevant to the public hearing before us. Be assured that it is common practice of this city council that these devices are not being used for texting, emailing, or other communications during these public hearings. And that said, Suzanne, number 9A.
Thank you. Mayor and council, this evening I'm pleased to present a request for a beer and wine license from Coffee House Holdings, doing business as Starbucks, store number 6946, which you all know as the new Starbucks by Walmart. They have applied, as I said, for a beer and wine license, and their premises is proposed to be the entire store inside and the patio at the said address. The applicant has a current sales tax license. They are eligible to apply for this liquor license. The location is eligible to be licensed. The manager of this property, his name is Levi Harris, and the applicant currently does not hold any other liquor licenses. However, on Tuesday morning, their first one for Breckenridge had been approved. So a master file's on file with the Colorado Liquor Enforcement Agency, and they have a lease in possession that will expire December 31st of 2024. We received their application on April 14th. The subject property was posted on May 7th, and the public notice was published in the paper on May 13th in the Courier. The fees, everything have been paid. There's no character questions. Everything is in order. And this evening in the audience, I'd like to introduce, we have Mr. Jeff Willis. He's the regional director for Starbucks. And we also have Brian Proffitt, who is the attorney for Starbucks, who are in the audience, and I would welcome to the podium to answer any questions that you may have.
Thank you, gentlemen, for being here. If you'll just state your name and your address for the record.
Certainly. Brian Proffitt, registration number 31101 on behalf of the applicant. My address is, I was trying to think of my office for a second, but I'm not going to remember that one. So 8029 East 23rd Avenue in Denver, Colorado.
And I'm Jeff Wills. I live in 5469 East Lawn Place in Centennial, Colorado.
All right, thank you very much, Jeff. Questions? Who would like to start?
I guess I will. Congratulations.
Thank you. And actually, if you may, we don't want to take up a lot of your time this evening, but I thought some people we have a long presentation for, others we tend to cut that a bit shorter. But I thought maybe I'd take 2 or 3 minutes, ask Mr. Wills some direct questions regarding what this program will look like. It is new to the state of Colorado, certainly new to Woodland Park, as well as some training questions and things like that. I have a feeling they're the same questions you may have here in a few moments. Mr. Wills is the regional director for this area. He oversees almost 100 stores here in Colorado and New Mexico, including the one here in Woodland Park. And